We certainly don't see this tailpiece on a Les Paul every day. Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. Time for that mod collection update. And what better way to kick it off with Moss Blue Metallic? With a title like that, you would think, could you make it any more blue? And honestly, I think you could. You could put a blue pickup cover, have a blue pickup ring, blue bobbin pickups, blue knobs, but no, very unique trapeze tailpiece. You typically find that on something like an ES-175. So to see that over here without any stop bar studs being filled in unless they filled them in and then did the refinish work is kind of interesting. But then in case you missed it, that's a P90 humbucker combination. This is a 56 reissue, so basically they routed out the humbucking position, but then you get a really dark rosewood fretboard. But we've got that low logo with a Gibson USA style truss rod cover, double ring Kluson style tuners, and that all comes together looking like this. Before we flip it over to the back to reveal it still has the natural neck, but they did go ahead and paint the back blue and give it the Moto backplates. And applied our mod collection decal. And this one is number 238. But looking down here, I missed it. So custom bucker in the bridge, but that's not just any P90 pickup. You're gonna notice it does not have the adjustable pole pieces, so it's one of their hum canceling versions, the P90 ST. But if you need even more blue in your life, you got Serenity Sky here on a Les Paul Studio. For $2,000, this almost looks like one of those old Les Paul specials back when they weren't actually making them era correct. Sometimes they'd have a flat top. It's that whole flat blue paint job, but the black and white bobbins are kind of unique here. Usually Gibson utilizes zebra bobbins that have like more of a cream color. The stark white is a nice contrast. They threw on some witch hat knobs. But yeah, sure enough, it is one of the newer studios that has the fretboard binding. But are we sure this actually still has a carved top to it? It just looks so flat in this photo. But yeah, sure enough, they went crazy on our headstock, gave us a new sparkly Gibson decal. But they did go ahead and complete the job, gave you the gloss neck and back Moto plates. For $2,000, it was priced at a $400 premium. Check out Hyper Hot Rod, 5600. I think we can all agree this is a little bit more exciting to the eyes than the Bengal burst you normally see on these things. The photo's a bit dark, but we can brighten it up to see it. It's basically just a red burst with a dark black border. But that mixed with the shiny chrome hardware works incredibly well, and they've amplified it with your HP style knobs. And matching switch tip. As far as your headstock, doesn't look like too much has changed here. And they gave you that burnt blackout vibe on the back, but ooh, that actually appears to be a satin finish. And yeah, sure enough, like what we saw last week, they must be moving the modern Access Customs into those Mini Grover tuners. But now we have a rather unique 58 reissue Les Paul Jr. in Crimson Cummerbund, which apparently is a waist sash for use with dinner jackets or tuxedos. It makes sense. They have this very interesting tenon cover on top of it, trying to mimic that going around the waist of the instrument. Okay, but honestly, I think the paint jobs are really cool. You can tell it's got a lot of different colors in there. A little bit of black, some red, maybe a bit of silver and blue. Get the nice white knobs. It's different without being too crazy. Well, let's look at the headstock first. All right, they did go a little bit of hog wild up here, but they left the Gibson logo alone, like the historic style. They just applied it over top of the matching headstock. And then the back, the body matches the top. And again, Moto backplates is a running theme this week, but then a natural neck, which almost appears to maybe be a semi-gloss satin. But that appears to be number 234, and we do have the mod collection decal. Next up, what on earth is this doing in the mod collection? This is not worthy. It's just a regular gold top. Nah, they call this one 24 karat gold. Someone needs to call up Bruno Mars for this one. I mean, it seems a little bit darker, but I feel like with a name like that, they should have given it the gold hardware just to really bling it out. Maybe this is something you just have to appreciate in person to get the full effect, but it does have a very dark fretboard. And we can definitely confirm that it has the super tinted lacquer, and thank goodness they left the truss rod cover alone. But then the back, it actually just appears to be black. Still left the brown backplates though, that's a nice touch. And ooh, this one still has a regular serial number. And I was looking through these other photos to see if maybe they gave us a better description of what they did here. Like if you're gonna call something 24 karat gold, does it actually have real gold in it? But I did see black back and dark brown stinger. I literally cannot see that, so I'm going to adjust the contrast and all that other good stuff in post, and you tell me, do you guys see it? Adding to that list is another 57 reissue. So don't think this is like a burst reissue. This is supposed to be a plain top gold top, but they refinished it in creme brulee. And it just happened to have a pretty nice top for an R7. Got nice reflector knobs, channeling the 60s. They did not put a pick guard on it. There they go again with their shenanigans. And this one also has a matching black back, likely because it was all burnt up while they were making their top finish nice and toasty. They're taking your custom shop case from you too. That's a Gibson USA downgrade. Well, we can wrap up the USA mod collection with an interesting one. Crocodile Green Metallic. That's the first time I've read the title. I mean, for $3,700, I'm pretty excited that there might be a little croco on the back. But it's kind of like a rusty reddish bronze metallic, primarily green in there. You've got your uncovered zebra bobbin pickups taking you back to the 70s. Interesting ambered knobs for this color choice, but again, dark fretboard with binding all over. No fret nibs, black nut. I wonder if this is an older guitar from the Memphis plant. Nope, serial number dates it to 2022, so they just did some heavy modifications there. So far on the back of the headstock, I'm not seeing any crocodiles, but I do see like a little bit of a red burst. I like that because that continues onto the neck, but then the body matches what we saw on the top. If you want to see a crocodile on a guitar, check out this Wyron from 4 years ago in the Brooks and Dunn Museum. They've got some cool stuff. But now let's check out the EU side of the mod collection. They had 3 of them, starting with one that sold incredibly fast for 2,200 euros, the Matt Mako. They called it an SG Standard 61, but I don't think anybody is fooled here. This is very obviously a Captain Kirk Douglas again. But this time, they ditched the master volume thing that they had here and put an on-off kill switch. Gave you P94 pickups and a stellar, absolutely fantastic gray finish. I like that. Complements well with your chrome knobs. And check that out, they got a little bit of Derek Trucks in this one, but they did like an EDS 1275's tailpiece right in front of it, so it almost looks like it's together. But no, this one's technically a stop bar tailpiece, you just have the fancy blingage of the tremolo. Headstock appears to have been left alone outside of maybe the tuners, because the Schaller-tipped Grovers didn't really come into fashion for Gibson until the Adam Jones standards. But the back is completely matching to the front. And it looks like there might be like an overspray or something on our backplate as well. And yes, our candid photos are back. Big fan of this one. I can see why it's sold. Oh, and the fact that it was cheap didn't hurt either. Those are usually $3,000 guitars. But they also had a satin cherry wine 70s Explorer. 2,700 euro. Does basically what the title says. Appears to be a satin open pore finish with some witch hat knobs thrown on there for fun and a metal switch tip. But there we go, we get a colored Gibson logo, a slight rosé. But this definitely shows you off that finish. But this one still has the mod stamp, so this is a pre-decal era guitar. And here's a couple other close-up shots showing you the open pore nature of the finish. Which might look kind of strange in photos, but they can feel nice to play. But this just kind of reminds me of some of the older Faded series Explorers that were a lot cheaper than this. Then they can follow it up with Emerald Metallic. But whoa! That's quite the price on that. This has to be like some sort of a custom shop reissue model. Oh, we've got a green finish. Something weird going on with our grain right there. Gold hardware. Go to the face of our headstock. We got one of the old Gibson Memphis truss rod covers. Otherwise, everything seems about normal. Okay, at least we don't have an impressed serial number. So yeah, it's some sort of a custom shop 335. It's number 205. Again, within the mod stamping era. And the back of the body has a matching color. It's just a natural and green relationship. But now, what was the US demo shop up to? Honestly, we didn't see quite as many guitars get dropped this week, maybe about half a page. What stood out to me was a 345 in walnut. Ever since I reviewed one of these this year, I've become a bigger fan of the 345, simply because of the 3-ply binding around the top. Now yeah, you can fall in love with the split parallelogram inlays too, and the modern iterations don't have any of the crazy fancy electronics to worry about. But I do believe the walnut is a Gibson.com exclusive. Next up, they had a Southern Jumbo Gibson, which in and of itself is not all that exciting. We see these often enough, and it's got the whole open back tuners looking fancy. But I wanted to share it because of this. Ooh, when they were cutting the sound hole out, something happened. Otherwise, it's just some minor scuffs. So would that bother you as a player? For me, I think I would pay a bit more to not have that. They had $1,000 off this Les Paul Supreme in the wine red, which for a newer model like this, I didn't think was too bad. But it does have some interesting stuff going on with the wood grain, like maybe it didn't get sanded down flush enough. Or maybe it's finish checking. It's kind of hard to tell in some of these photos, but to me that just looks like wood grain showing through outside of this scratch. But if we take the time to actually adjust this photo, that has a pretty nice top for one of these. It's not as pinstripey as many that we've seen. There's also a seldom seen 63 reissue SG Special for about $600 off. Granted, it's a very limited buyer pool for custom shop juniors and specials, but they also listed a J45 custom for apparently $1,200 off. We did review this model if you want to check it out. Still think the headstock looks a bit strange, but we've come a long way from the Chroma years. I think this is the one that wins the US demo shop this week. A 56 reissue in wine red? But get this, it's a fantastic top. I mean, normally it's like those 57s we were talking about. This is a gold finish, you don't get to see it. But this one had to have been spec'd this way in like hand-selected top, and then they gave it black plastics instead of cream. Then you get black reflector knobs. That is a good one. Still has the low logo, good truss rod cover. How's the back? Just regular custom shop stuff. I picked this one out for the lefties, $335, but not just for that reason, because there was a rather peculiar defect on it. They really did a number to the binding there, but I feel like you could clean that up with a razor blade. It wouldn't be too hard. But then there's a black paint splotch right there. And I guess if your eye's keen enough, you can kind of see it now, but it's not that different from the wood grain dot over here. And then lastly, another one of those junior double cuts in the dark walnut finish. It seems Gibson's been restocking these every week in their shop, and they tend to sell out incredibly fast. I'm hoping to pick one up for review in the near future. But alright, Troglodytes, I hope you enjoyed tonight's episode. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you tomorrow on the next one. Take care.